Sins of the past. She says she was kicked out of her own church after a member of the congregation allegedly got her pregnant when she was only 15. Now, police want to know, did the church cover up for one of their own? The victim is speaking out exclusively this morning on The Early Show.
Gears just a little bit here. The former deacon of a fundamentalist church in New England has been arrested and charged with sexual assault. Even more shocking, church officials are now under investigation after allegations of a possible cover-up. Tina Anderson was only 15 years old when she says she was twice raped by a prominent member of her congregation at the Trinity Baptist Church in Concord, New Hampshire. Ernie Willis was 38 years old and a church deacon at the time. Anderson says when she came forward about the alleged rape and eventual pregnancy, church officials, led by former pastor Chuck Phelps, said she was to blame. Anderson claims she was forced to stand in front of her congregation and apologize for getting pregnant. She was later sent off to Colorado, where she was made to give up the baby for adoption. Phelps denies ever covering up Anderson's whereabouts. Police released Ernest Willis on $100,000 bail. He'll be arraigned on June 16th. And Tina Anderson is coming forward for the very first time on television to speak about her ordeal, and she joins us exclusively this morning here on The Early Show. Tina, good morning.
Good morning.
Good to see you. I know this is not easy to talk about, but why now have you decided to finally come forward after all these years?
Actually, I didn't really come forward. What happened was Matt Barnhart, a former member of Trinity, wrote my story on a Facebook group called Independent Fundamental Baptist Cult Survivors. And Jocelyn Zichterman saw it and contacted him and told him that they needed to go to the police. And together they went to the police, and then Detective DeAngelis contacted me, and I told him my story.
Yeah, I read your testimony, and when you got that call, was it kind of a good news, bad news proposition because you had to relive all of this? And what was it like to have to dredge up all these feelings again?
I was in complete shock when I got the call. I never expected it, and it's been very tough. It's been very emotional and very overwhelming to go through it all again.
Well, you're very strong for talking about it, and of course being here with us this morning for it. Ernie Willis, this deacon, you were babysitting his kids when this all happened. Can I talk about your anger towards what he had not only did to you then, but what it's done to you as you've lived your life these next decade plus?
I've sought to move on. There's always something there. There's always heartache there, but I've sought to kind of leave that and move on in my life.
Is there a sense of, okay, finally justice is going to be served now that the secret is out, now that he is no longer walking free as a man who is not known as a predator? Is there some solace in that?
I think justice will be served when he has his day in court and when he goes to prison. I think that should have happened a long time ago. I think there are other issues that also need to be addressed in this story as well.
What other issues?
Well, Chuck Phelps and Matt Olson did a lot to systematically brainwash me, make me believe this was my fault, to cover things and make people believe that it wasn't Ernie's baby, to make, even Chuck Phelps' wife, when we came forward, asked me if I enjoyed it when it happened, and it's not okay.
And Chuck Phelps was the pastor of the church at the time who basically blamed you and made you stand before the church and take full responsibility and write a letter to the pastor's wife explaining that you were at fault.
Matt Olson made me write a letter to Ernie Willis's wife asking for forgiveness for betraying her trust. Are you disappointed?
Is there a bigger word than disappointment in what you feel towards the church and how they let you down?
I think I'm sad. I'm very sad and I'm heartbroken, and I think it's not okay. It's not okay to make victims believe it's their fault. And I think I'm sad because I know they don't think they did anything wrong. They still don't believe that. They still blame me. And I think they do it to another girl.
Well, Tina, thank you. Again, I know this is not easy, and we do appreciate you coming in and taking the time. All right?
Yes.
Be well.
Thanks.
All right. It's about 11 minutes after the hour right now.